Good evening, San Antonio, and welcome to Via Metropolitan Transit's Keep SA Moving Telephone Town Hall. My name is Rachel Benavidez. I'm the Director of Communications at Via, and tonight we'll be talking about a number of topics that are important to you, our customers, and our community. That includes news and updates on Via's Keep SA Moving projects, progress on the region's first advanced rapid transit corridor, and how you can be part of the process to develop that project. We'll discuss plans and the location of the next Via Link zone for on-demand rideshare options and other exciting news like changes to our board, our exciting new app integration, and the launch of a new information page on Via's website. Before we get started, let me introduce our panel. Starting on the far end, we have Kammy Horne, our Senior Vice President of Planning. Welcome, Kammy.
Thank you.
Jeff Arndt, our President and CEO.
Thank you.
And Gary Herrera, our Senior Vice President for Public Engagement here at Via.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here, everybody. We're going to have a really great conversation. I'd like to start with a little bit of housekeeping. I want to welcome everyone who's joined us in the past. You may remember how to press *3 to ask your question, but I'd like to talk to everyone joining us for the first time. Welcome again, and thank you for your interest in what Via is doing to help keep the community moving. This event and others give us a chance to speak directly with you and answer as many of your questions as possible. For our phone participants, we'd like to invite you to watch the live stream by visiting keepsamoving.com. That's keepsamoving.com. You can click on the events tab at the top of the page and you'll find the streaming player there. To ask questions live, please stay on the phone. For our attendees participating on the web, you can submit your questions in the chat box below the streaming player. Again, this is an interactive forum. We're here to hear from you. We'll be taking as many questions from participants as possible live on this event. If you have a question, you can press *3 on your phone anytime, and you'll be placed in line to speak with a member of our staff. After that, the next time you hear your name, we'll be live on the call, and you'll be able to ask your questions directly. Y para los participantes de la convocatoria que prefieren escuchar en español, bienvenidos. Favor de oprimir a la estrella y cero para escuchar en español. Let's get started. We have a lot of ground to cover, and I'm so excited for tonight's conversation. Jeff, just last Friday, we had our annual State of Transit event. This is an event that we put on with our partners at SAMCO, the San Antonio Mobility Coalition, and it's our State of the Union focused on transit events and progress here in San Antonio to give folks an idea of what the event is like. During that presentation, you gave a lot of really great updates on Keep SA Moving, the voter-approved initiative that's changing the way we move in San Antonio. Would you tell our listeners and viewers a little bit about what Keep SA Moving is doing now, since it was voted in 2020?
So first of all, I want to acknowledge that my partners at the table tonight were hugely responsible for the State of Transit program, and I very much appreciate being surrounded by such talented people.
Well, thank you.
You're very welcome, and I truly appreciate everything that all of you did to make. So Via is now operating in the fast lane.
That's right.
So when we look at the Keep San Antonio Moving plan that was brought to the voters in November of 2020, and that the voters approved with a 68% approval rating, that vote will allow Via to begin receiving additional sales tax beginning in 2026. And I often tell people that the night of the election, I had two combating emotions. The one was, of course, you're so grateful to have the public support. That's very grateful for that. And that public support will result eventually in additional funding. So there's that positive feeling. The other side was, but we don't begin receiving any of it until 2026. And so are we going to be treading water for 5 years until the funds can come in? Well, what's happened is the stars have aligned in many respects. Not only do we have that additional funding coming that will help us pay for running new parts of the system, but we also received recovery funds related to COVID, and we were able to take some of our local money and put it into a reserve so that we can advance these projects. Not only advance the rapid transit project, which is kind of the showpiece, if you will, of the overall plan, and that Kammy will be talking about shortly, but it also has allowed us and continues to allow us to implement new VIA-Link services in areas that would have had to wait until 2026 or beyond, and also make other improvements in our bus system. And then finally, because we're in this position, we're beginning to work on the next ART line, the east-west line. And while we need to still find additional funding for that line, we're in a good position to begin moving that forward. So we are actually running 5 years ahead of schedule based upon where we were in November of 2020.
That's excellent. That's
Yeah.
excellent, Jeff. And you know, one of the highlights for me during our state of transit is that you always remember to tell us who VIA serves, right? And also who is helping to move San Antonio. And so I'd like for you to tell us a little bit about the people. We just did a recent rider survey and we update those every year. What have we learned about who rides VIA?
So, and we have a number of sources for that information, but we know that our ridership, they're primarily coming from families who earn $25,000 or less annually within their family income, that many of them do not have vehicles or they don't have a vehicle available for the trip they're making. The majority are working people and ride the system 5, 6, and 7 days, related to the fact that likely many of them work more than one job. And so in order to get to these jobs, folks need access. And I always say you can have opportunity abounding, but if somebody can't reach that point of opportunity, then it doesn't really benefit them. And that's really what we're all about doing. So we provide essential service. You could see that during the pandemic. We continue to run service. Our heroes, we call them everyday heroes, because every day, regardless of when it is in time, they're out there on that road. They were out there delivering service to people during the pandemic, during the period of time when we didn't really know how COVID was spread and there was so much uncertainty. They were behind the wheel. They were getting people to those essential jobs. They were also getting people to essential functions like doctors' offices. I got an email from a gentleman who said, I didn't have any way to get to the grocery store if it weren't for the bus. And so those folks that are driving the bus, obviously the front line, but also it's the mechanics that kept the buses running. And it's the field supervisors that are out there assisting. And it's the VIA police and security folks. And it's the people who work at the information windows or the ticket windows. All of these people, these frontline people, are the heroes that help keep San Antonio moving, and particularly the market that we serve.
Absolutely. And we were so honored to have so many of our frontline team members there with us at the State of Transit. And let me say thank you to them as well. Now, John Gary, we're talking a little bit about these employees and team members, particularly our frontline workers, our operators, our mechanics, and our customer service folks and maintenance, of course. And now we are leading an effort to recruit new employees. Tell us a little bit about why that's important. Why are we trying to recruit new employees right now?
Well, you know, there's a saying that before you can deliver great service, you got to have great employees. And that is one of the key moments that we have in our agency at this time right now, is indeed recruiting those great employees to come and join us as we are recapping and retooling our system to deliver the system to San Antonio. Just as other businesses have in San Antonio have come out of COVID, we find ourselves in that same position of where we are looking at trying to attract as much talent to our system and to our agency as possible to come on board to help us serve our community.
Fantastic. And we want to tell everyone out there that if you go to viainfo.net/employment, viainfo.net/employment, you can learn more about the really great sign-on bonuses that VIA is offering right now for operator and mechanic candidates. And we'd love to hear from you if you're interested in working with our team.
And Rachel, I just want to remind folks too, that because we had a number of operators and mechanics that were ill during that period of time, and we had our normal attrition, people retire because they put in their career. Those that were working were having to do a yeoman's job. And so not only are they out there delivering the service, but they were working extremely hard. And again, everyday heroes for us.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And we're grateful for them. For those folks who've just joined us, or as a reminder for everyone on the line, if you have a question, you can press *3 on your phone keypad at any time, and you'll be placed in line to speak with a member of our staff. After that, the next time you hear your name, you'll be live on the call, and you'll be able to ask your questions directly. We want to hear from you. We're here to talk directly to the folks. And so we hope a lot of people are lining up to ask us some really great questions. Kammy?
Yes.
I'd really love for you to tell us and tell all the folks listening and watching, what is the latest with our Keep SA Moving project plans?
Sure. I'm happy to, and I'm very excited about our Keep SA Moving plans. So, and I do want to say that if you go to keepsamoving.com, there is loads of information. There's maps and information on updates. And I'll talk a little bit about our advanced rapid transit, but Keep SA Moving includes a better bus system where we're going to maximize what we can do with our traditional bus services. It includes our Via Link, which is our mobility on demand that I can talk about a little bit later. Some other projects and including a new maintenance facility. But what I want to highlight is the advanced rapid transit. So it's super exciting that we are rolling forward with advanced rapid transit in San Antonio. The first project out of the gate is our north-south corridor that will be operating primarily on San Pedro and connecting really the Brooks Transit Center all the way up to Stone Oak on 281, and it connects the airport with Steves Avenue in terms of the construction limits for that project. It's approximately 12 miles of that construction, the construction limits really. And when I talk about that, what we're looking at is a fantastic system that will allow the bus to primarily use either bus only or what we call business access and transit. So it's the bus plus right turns or business access, but also lanes that are for the bus only. And that's a win-win for everyone. It's a win for people traveling on the bus, and it's a win for automobiles because they're not competing. There's no competition with the bus. So the other great thing about this advanced rapid transit system or bus rapid transit is that it has very special features. So it will have these great stations with off-board fare collection, which makes it a lot faster to get on the bus. It will also, we also have what we call transit signal priority. So it can increase the length of a green light or lessen the length of a red light so that the buses can go through faster.
Oh man, I wish we all had that, Kammy.
No, just the advanced rapid transit.
That's right.
It will have level boarding, and it will also have some really great informational signage at the stations and kiosks to help you know where you are and where you're going. So I'm very, very excited to talk about that. We have some public meetings coming up too on the north-south corridor. Those are on the keepsamoving.com website. But the first one is this Saturday that's going to be held from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. at Blessed Sacrament on Oblate. And so that's great. The other advanced rapid transit line that we're moving forward is east-west. Mainly along Commerce and Houston streets that connect General McMillan with the AT&T Center and Kellogg Transit Center to our East Side Mobility Hub. So we are really excited to move these forward. Another thing I do want to mention is that we are able to get this advanced rapid transit on the north-south. We were able to get that in the president's budget at $158 million, which is such a great thing for San Antonio, such a great thing for the economy. It's a great thing for placemaking, and it's really, really going to be a great thing for our riders.
That's a really great summary, Kammy. It's a big project. There's a lot happening, and those are really great highlights. You mentioned a couple of things that I want to touch on. We've heard a lot from folks at our public meetings, which we started in March and we're continuing this weekend. We've heard from all of you out there about the things that are really important, and one of those things is moving faster, getting through traffic, et cetera. But people really want to know, well, how are we going to pay for it? right? And what lines, how do you choose north, south, and east to west? And having those conversations with folks and helping to understand the process of developing the project has been really, really great. So we hope everyone will come out on Saturday or take a look at keepsamoving.com for a meeting, either virtual or in person, that suits your schedule. Jeff, I want to talk with you a little bit about the funding, and Kammy touched on it.
Sure.
We were celebrating being recommended for funding in the president's budget, but people are very curious. How much is this going to cost, and where are you getting the money from?
So let me kind of back up in the process. VIA and San Antonio have never been in the financial position to pursue federal funding out of what they call the Capital Improvement Grant Program, which is how they fund large projects. Projects as large as subway systems in New York, and projects like ours, an advanced rapid transit project. And the reason we couldn't pursue those funds was that we didn't have any money to match, because the federal government requires that about roughly 40–50% of the funds have to come from a local source. And VIA's funding didn't allow us to build those local match dollars, right? You're not going to build a major capital project without that federal funding. As I mentioned before, when we had two things that happened to us. So first of all, the COVID relief funds allowed us to build that kind of reserve, so that we're in a position where we have the money that's needed to match the federal money. And then secondly, with the new sales tax that the voters approved, we'll have the money to pay for operating that line in the long term. The Federal Transit Administration needs to be assured before they're going to put their money in that the local match is there for the capitals, for the building side, and that money is going to be there on a sustainable basis for all the years you're going to be operating that system. So those two things came together at about the same time. We submitted our first grant proposal to the federal government last fall. We received a medium-high rating just a few months later, which is almost unheard of. We have to be medium to get funding, but medium-high is like extraordinary. You're right out of the gate, and that's what resulted in the president's budget, including $158 million for our line. Now, we have to go through all the steps to get the project shored up before we receive that money. But I always say it's kind of like at the end of the rainbow, there really is a pot of money, if you will. And so that's really exciting for us.
That's fantastic, Jeff. What an incredible investment for the community, and sooner than we expected, which is what we like to hear. Our live caller on the line, Catherine, must be reading our minds, because we're about to talk about VIA Link, but Catherine has a question about using VIA Link in her area. Josh, do we have Catherine? Go ahead.
Hi, yeah. I connected the VIA Link at the UTSA campus, and unfortunately, about a week or so ago, they stopped taking the VIA Go card because they have no way to scan it. Unfortunately, I use that as a senior citizen because it also has my picture on it. So I had to buy day and week passes to be able to use those on the VIA Link to be able to get where I need to go.
Okay.
Is there any way that they're going to put scanners on the vans?
So, Catherine, thank you so much for your question. First, let me say the great thing about talking directly with you, our customers, and our community is that we get to hear about issues that we can work on to improve. So in this particular case, VIA Link is our on-demand rideshare type service. Catherine's talking about the Northwest Operating Zone, which goes over by UTSA, Northwest Vista College, and there's an area along 1604, points in between. It is rideshare or VIA prices. And it should accept all of the same types of fares that our buses accept, including all of the discounts, senior discounts, et cetera. And what Catherine's brought to our attention is something that we may need to fix, which is the Go Card issue. Go Card is something that's coming out. It's kind of new. Some of you may be familiar with Go Card. Some of you may be looking forward to using it. So I want to thank Catherine for asking that question. Catherine, it should be working for you, but we're absolutely going to look into it.
I'm glad, Rachel, perhaps we captured her number, and we'll call her back, and we'll have our wonderful folks at our call center call her back and make sure that we get it straight. But absolutely, Go Card should be working on VIA Link. That is clear.
So thank you, Catherine, for the chance to talk with the folks about that. We have over 2,700 participants on the line, and I'm so excited to talk to each one of you. There must be at least 2,700 questions out there that we need to answer, so we want to hear from you. If you have a question, please press *3 on your phone keypad at any time, and you'll be placed in line to speak with a member of our staff. After that, the next time you hear your name, you'll be live on the call, and you'll be able to ask your questions directly. So please press *3, and we want to hear from you. Do we have a poll question, Josh? We're going to take 2 or 3 poll questions, so we really definitely want to get your feedback on this one. Let's start with our first one. So San Antonio now has the fastest growing population in the country, and that's according to the U.S. Census this year in 2022. Will become even larger and more congested in the region in the next decade. Our question is, how will these changes alter your use of VIA services? Press 1 if you believe your usage will increase. Press 2 if you think your usage will decrease. Press 3 if you don't use VIA now, but might as traffic worsens. And press 4 if you don't plan on using VIA in the future. And if you're unsure, press 5. I'll go through those again. With growth and congestion at a fast pace here in San Antonio over the next decade, how will those changes alter your use of VIA services? 1, if it will increase. 2, if it will decrease. 3, if you don't use it now, but as traffic gets worse, you might. 4, if you don't plan on using it in the future. And 5, if you're not sure. And we'll share those results shortly. Let's talk a little bit more about VIA Link. Catherine introduced the topic, and I know a lot of people want to know more about VIA Link. We're currently operating in 3 zones. And I want to ask you, John Gary, how's it going?
It's going great. It is indeed, we'll back up and say a few words about, new products and services that are coming from VIA. It is indeed an effort of ours to get the word out in these areas and obviously try to get as much adoption of these products and services that we're offering, VIA Link being top of mind as we're discussing here today.
Right.
So, Rachel, as you said, we have existing zones of VIA Link that are currently operating. We have one in the Northeast area. We have one in the Northwest area, which you just described. We also have one that is a VIA Link Express service that's serving over to Sandy Oaks. The service in Northwest and Northeast are doing really, really good. Their adoption rates are really high. We see growth in all the products all the services from consumers. And what's great about the information that we're getting from the service is the data that we get back, so we can analyze where folks are utilizing the service. So when we just had the caller a second ago talking about her origination location being at UTSA,
right.
She's mentioning a location that's one of the top locations for VIA Link usage that we have in our system. Not only from folks, and I understood from her that she's a senior, but you can imagine that the high utilization is coming from students. And the great news about that with students, both Northwest Vista students and UTSA students, through their universities or colleges, have access to a U-Pass program. And this U-Pass program will allow them to ride our services for free, including the VIA Link service. So that's one of the great things. The other piece that we want to emphasize, as the caller was asking us for some clarification on, is VIA Link is at VIA pricing. So it's an Uber-like service at a VIA price. And what we mean by that is it's going to be the same fare that you would have taken if you were utilizing our fixed route bus service. So and that is $1.30 one way on our bus service. So if you were indeed adopting a VIA Link service within that zone, your price point would be the same.
Now, hold on a second, John Gary.
We also honor discounts.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. We honor discounts, so seniors can ride during the week for 25 cents and on the weekends for free. That's an example. We have many discounts in our program as well.
So here's what I want to ask you. How much is a gallon of gas in San Antonio right now?
Oh, latest I saw was $4.89.
And how much was that single fare again?
That single fare was $1.30 one way.
I'm so proud of that. I'm so proud that we can offer San Antonians an affordable option for transit. Absolutely, in the Northeast and Northwest zones, that includes Via Link, but all over San Antonio, our bus fares are some of the lowest in the state, if not in the nation. And they've stayed that way for years because we know that affordable options are important to the community. I want to say that what I really love is our day pass, $2.75, unlimited rides all day. And then we also have 7-day pass and monthly passes that really just lower the per trip. So just do the math, folks. Over $5 for a gallon of gas, $1.30 for a trip on Via or Via Link. And I really think it's such a great option.
So Rachel, for $38 a month, you can get a monthly pass, or you can buy half a tank of gas.
That's true.
Those are your options.
That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. And those passes also work on Via Link. Now, I want to go back to another really important point you made, John Gary, because I want to make sure that all of our college students out there and all of you families who have students in college or those who are thinking about going to college, but you're not sure how you're going to get there, look into the U-Pass. I believe that now all of the local campuses are participating in our U-Pass program. And what that is free transportation anywhere Via goes, all of Via's services, except for the special event services, all of Via's services, including Via Link, are free for college students. One of the major hurdles for higher education is just accessing resources and the campus. And we're doing our part, I think, to help fix that. And John Gary, you had a thought.
I was going to add all to that, college students and the faculty and those employees
That's right.
as well.
Faculty and employees. Faculty and employees.
Faculty and employees of these institutions absolutely will be utilizing, can take advantage of that great rate, which
really
is free.
Free.
Right. And we never surge charge.
We never
That's right.
surge charge. That's right.
Never.
No fuel surcharge
Either. So folks, we have the results of our first poll question, and I want to thank everyone who participated. 35% of you said that with the congestion and the growth that we are anticipating here in San Antonio and the region over the next decade, 35% of you believe that your Via usage will increase, and we appreciate you. 10% said it'll probably decrease. We're hoping to change your mind. 25% don't use Via now, but you might as traffic worsens, and we welcome you to the system, and we're glad you're here to learn about it. And 11% said that you don't plan on using Via in the future, and 19% are unsure. So fantastic, fantastic feedback from folks on the line, and we thank you. Josh, do we have a caller? Thank you. Let's see. Okay, perfect. So Joe, you had a question about service.
Yes. Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I just started getting messages from you all 2 or 3 days ago. I never gotten the messages before. Now, I live on close to Bernie Stage Road and I-10. What services are there for senior citizens there in this area?
Thank you so much for your question. So we're going to ask our folks to make sure to get your contact information so that someone can call you and explain with more time all of the options that you might have in that area and what our programs for seniors are. So we thank you so much for your question. You can also go anytime, and this is for everyone listening or on the web, to viainfo.net and help to plan your trip. And that includes looking to see what services are in your area, or call our Go line. Our customer service representatives are always ready to help. That's 210-362-2020. We have another live caller. Caller, go ahead. If I'm going to pronounce this correctly, Dashe?
Yes, that is correct. Absolutely.
Oh,
Thank
yay.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, I don't have much on my phone, but I love Via. My husband used to work for Via in the bus operation, not the bus operation, but bus care and maintenance. And so I ride the bus. I'm on the northwest side. My son and I, we ride the bus almost every day. There's two things. I was born here in San Antonio, but I've been living, I was living in Chicago for over 30 years and just recently came back. The only issue that I have is it's sometimes and a lot of times when I'm catching connecting buses. I get on one bus and then I'm due to connect another bus, and even if it's 1 minute late, the bus pulls off.
And so it makes me late for work. It makes me late for any appointments. And I've actually said something about this, but I think via bus service is great. I just think it would be best if, it would be helpful if the other buses were to at least communicate with the connecting bus, so that the people that are on the bus that's probably a minute or two late are able to connect with the other bus, and they're not late for their appointments and late for their, jobs. And the other thing is that 603. That 603 UTSA bus, it comes every hour, but sometimes it feels like we should at least get one every 30 minutes, because it's either sometimes it doesn't even come. We'll stand there and the bus doesn't even come, but it just seems like it's more people, riding the 603.
Right.
I noticed the
Right.
96. Yeah, the 96 comes sometimes every 15 minutes, and that's great because a lot of us ride the 96 to go back and forth downtown, but that 603, it doesn't cooperate with us at all. And I love the 603. There are some of the best drivers on the 603. I am friends with everybody.
Dashe, thank you so much for all that information. And there are a couple of things that we want to touch on. Frequency, we know, is the most important thing to our customers and to a healthy, modern transit system. Our goal, and it's outlined in the Keep SA Moving Plan, is to make sure that no buses, no routes in the system operate at more than 30 minutes at a time. And that's the frequency goal that we've set, at least the first milestone for Keep SA Moving. But it's going to take some things changing in order to get there. We were on our way. And then some changes with COVID, as everyone knows, changed a lot of things about San Antonio and other factors. Really quickly, Jeff, so that we can continue our conversation. Mm-hmm. What's it going to take to get Dashe's bus, for example, to be at a higher frequency, to get buses and routes throughout the system at a higher frequency?
So yeah, Dashe, completely both relate and understand your point. We do not want to be operating buses that only run every 60 minutes. And our Keep San Antonio Moving Plan is designed around increasing frequency throughout the network. And in fact, in 2019, we had about half a dozen high frequency routes being every 10 to 12 minutes. If you just miss a bus that's running every 10 minutes, the wait's not as long and you don't have the impact to your daily schedule.
Right.
So that's where we're trying to head. What we are facing right now is that we need to hire additional bus operators to deliver that service. So as I said before, we had operators that were just really working hard to cover the service, but there's a limit to that. And, if a restaurant doesn't have enough servers, they change the days that they serve. They serve dinner and not lunch, but we can't do that. We can't say, guess what, on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we're not going to run service because we don't have. So what we had to do is cut back on some of the service so we could deliver what we said we were going to deliver. I think there'd be nothing worse than having a schedule published that we knew we were not going to be able to run. Because
right.
People need to rely on the service. So as John Gary said before, we're very, very, very busy in the recruiting process for additional bus operators. And as we bring on additional bus operators, we intend and expect to return the levels of service to more typically what we had pre-COVID 2019 and beyond.
Right. Fantastic. So those are really important points that I hope will help our customers and our community, our viewers and listeners understand what's impacting service now. I want to talk a little bit about innovation. And we've touched on several topics that fall under the innovation umbrella, the Advanced Rapid Transit project being one of them. We have a few, we'll talk about some app upgrades that are coming up, but touching back on Via Link, it's innovative, but not just because it's an app-based service. It is delivery service innovation. We're innovating the way that we deliver service in the zones. And so Kammy, I wanted to ask you a few questions about Via Link.
Sure.
First, how are the zones selected? And next, when is a new zone opening and where?
Sure, great. So when we talk, and I'm going to go back to if you can access keepsamoving.com and you scroll down or you go down to the Via Link portion, you can see a map of the Via Link service. But I will describe to you a little bit about what we're doing and try to give you that picture, and then explain a little bit more about how we locate those zones. So if you think about San Antonio and mainly the areas within 410, those are the areas where we're looking to really maximize the bus service. And then we are also, as I described, adding the rapid transit in those areas. But then outside those areas that when you asked about how do we select the zones? Well, we look for the areas where the traditional bus service just doesn't work as well. And that could be because of the density or the street layout. And so when you look at where we have put in the Northeast, in the Northwest, those are areas where another type of service might work better and where we can actually put services that serve people 7 days a week. You can go anywhere to anywhere in those zones and connect into the traditional service. So how do we locate them? It's a lot based on, like I said, the density, the land use patterns, the street network. And so our next zone is in the south area that's going to connect directly to our Madla transit center. It'll connect. It's about 12 square miles ish. And again, the great thing about this, and John Gary, you might have mentioned this, but you can go anywhere to anywhere within
Right.
these zones. I mean, that's amazing for the $1.30 or the discounted price. I mean, give it a try if you're in those areas. So in early August, we are looking to open the South Zone, and the South Zone will not only connect to the Madla Transit Center, also Palo Alto, Texas A&M, San Antonio, also Toyota Manufacturing, the South Park Mall. There's an HEB there as well, and this is we did have a partnership with Toyota that I want to mention that is supporting many things about the zone, including passes for Texas A&M students, Toyota employees and contractors, and other area nonprofits. So we're really looking forward to this. Keep your eye out for the launch date, but it will be in early August. So happy to talk about this more or answer any other questions.
No, that's really, that is
I love it.
a lot of great information.
Yeah.
And to hear that it's coming as soon as it is, I think is going to make a lot of the folks on the call really happy. A lot of our customers and our friends in the South Side. Yes, sir. Did you
I was
have
just going to say that we
you want
really,
to add?
yes, I do. We would like to invest in innovation in a way that makes things better and cost less.
That's
and
right.
that's really one of the great features of ViaLink, which is that we had in the Northeast Zone, for example, we had, I believe, 3 bus routes that ran once an hour. These are once an hour routes along certain corridors. And we took those routes out of that neighborhood and used that money to put in ViaLink. Now with ViaLink, you don't have to wait. You don't have to schedule your once an hour. You don't have to travel just down this road and maybe have to transfer to come back up. In fact, there are areas that you really couldn't get to by bus that you now can with ViaLink. And then the other benefit, of course, is that when you tie into the bus system, it's a free transfer. So that $1.30 pays for your trip on ViaLink, and if you get onto a Via bus throughout the service area.
And Jeff, the frequency for ViaLink?
Oh, yes. So ViaLink, in the areas where we used to have 60-minute service, the typical wait is 10 minutes for once you book your trip. So now you can ride Via, if you will, to your schedule, not to the bus's schedule.
Right. And I think that that's where everybody wants to get. That's
Yes,
true innovation
absolutely.
in how we deliver service. And, hearing about some of these destinations in the new South Zone, Texas A&M, that's connecting people to education. The Toyota manufacturing campus is connecting people to jobs and employment. And that's really one of the benefits of picking these zones is understanding the connections are going to improve. Making sure that the people there can connect to education, to opportunity. Those are some of the biggest goals that we have, and those are our everyday goals. Let's take another poll question, and then I'll remind everyone that we're here to answer your questions. And so if you have a question, please press *3 on your phone keypad at any time, and you'll be placed in line to speak with a member of our staff. After that, the next time you hear your name, you'll be live on the call, and you'll be able to ask your questions directly. Thank you to the callers who have called in. We want to hear from more of you. Here's your next poll question. Which of these Keep SA Moving initiatives are you most likely to use? Press 1 for advanced rapid transit. Press 2 for more frequent bus service. Press 3 for Via Link. And press 4 for the technology updates that Via will be offering. Again, which of these Keep SA Moving initiatives are you most likely to use? 1 for advanced rapid transit, 2 for more frequent bus service, 3 for Via Link, and 4 for technology updates. Josh, is there an option for all 4? No, okay, so you have to choose.
You
Choose
were
the
reading
one
my
which you're
mind.
most
Yes.
likely to use. So we definitely want to hear from you. In a minute, we'll have those results. And while folks are choosing their favorite Keep SA Moving initiative, I want to move on to a few other news updates. There's a lot going on at VIA at any given time. Every day, we're trying to improve lives, improve connections, and make sure people can get where they're going. A few things I wanted to talk about, Jeff, actually, if you'll talk with us about a program called Navilens.
I'm delighted to talk about Navilens. And let me preface this all with the fact that we are constantly pursuing funding from additional sources. And so far, in the first 5 months of the year, we received 3 different project grants from the federal government. Plus, we got the $158,000 earmark, if you will, in the president's budget. So that's 4 big wins in 5 months. That's pretty great. One of the wins was with the support of Congressman Castro, the expansion of what's called Navilens. Now, Navilens was designed to assist people who have visual impairment. And so we have piloted it, and you'll see on some of our bus stops that there is a QR code, but doesn't look like the one in the restaurant where you have to get your phone all lined up and hopefully something pops up. It's big and it's Technicolor. And with the software on the phone, a person with visual impairment just have to point the phone in the general direction of that Navilens, and they will get a message in whatever language their phone is programmed to that will talk to them about where the bus stop is, what routes serve it, when the next buses are arriving, whatever other information we want to deliver. Now, the nice thing about Navilens too is that it will benefit all people because anybody can have the app and point it. There is an app that gives you the information in text rather than voice, if you prefer that. This grant, this money that we received through the support of Congressman Castro will allow us to expand Navilens through our system. And what's pretty significant about that is that we will be the first city in America that has a system-wide Navilens system. There are a couple cities in Europe that have that, but we will be the first city in the United States.
That's excellent. And for folks who are using the system now, can they see Navilens that's out? Where do they look for those QR codes?
They're mounted on top of the bus stops.
On top of the bus stops.
And
so
you can't miss them.
Fantastic. Well, because they're in bright colors, right?
Yes, right.
So if you want to try out our Navilens system, look for them top of the bus stops, and that program is going to be expanding system-wide soon. We have the results of our next poll question, and I'll say we're about 15 minutes to the end of our call. So if you do have a question, remember to press *3 now. The question was, which of these Keep SA Moving initiatives are you most likely to use? And unfortunately, you couldn't choose all 4, but let's take a look. 37% of you said ART, or Advanced Rapid Transit. Another 37 said more frequent bus service. 21 chose Via Link, and 5 are looking forward to our technology updates. So we thank everyone who participated in that call. You know, for those 5% folks, we have some more good news in terms of technology updates, don't we? So John Gary, will you tell us a little bit about the B-Cycle partnership that we just rolled out?
You know, we were talking about innovation earlier, and a lot of folks will connect innovation with technology. And definitely, that is indeed one of the most recognized ways of describing innovation is through some technology. And technology has really comes in all forms. And for those of us who navigate the internet through our phones, much of that is done through an app. And we know there are apps almost for everything. I found an app this weekend about what's the correct angle for your ladder. You're going to climb on a ladder.
There's an app for everything.
Yes, and it will tell you, are you at the right angle? So I started to think, well, maybe I shouldn't even be on the ladder.
That's what I was thinking.
But there's an app for everything. But that also is great, but it's also could be frustrating for consumers because there's so many apps. And so now there's definitely a move by the consumers, and our customers are saying, we love the apps, we appreciate where we're heading. How about we start consolidating those apps and start putting them together so it becomes easier for the consumer to use? And one of the things that we're excited to announce is we have an integration of an app with Transit app and B-Cycle. There's an example there that you can seamlessly integrate the use of the B-Cycle utilization for bicycle with transit, while also understanding where your transit bus is, where the location will take you, and real-time information about your trip. All of that connected together in one app. We're seeing high utilization of that so far, and we think it's more things to come as we're talking about technology and making it easier for folks to adopt our services and get excited about it.
Can I
And-
give an?
Oh, go ahead.
I'd love to give another plug for our integration with Transit app, because if you haven't tried it and you are able to through our Go Mobile,
Yes.
you get into Transit app and you plan where you want to go and you put your destination in there, you push go, and you can go along and read along where you're traveling to. Tells you exactly when to pull the cord on the bus so that you know when to get out. So it's really fantastic. So I would just say give it a try, because it makes riding via so much easier.
And Kammy, you're a daily rider, right?
Absolutely, I am.
You want to tell folks about your journey there really quickly?
Well, sure. I gave up my vehicle almost exactly a year ago. So I take Via pretty much everywhere I go, and I love using our apps, and really the use of our apps was something that helped me get over my nervousness about knowing exactly when to get off the bus. It was just great, and I love riding Via, and it's been great. I don't plan to get a car anytime soon, and I take our services every day.
Well, that's fantastic. And so we're speaking from experience here, folks, and we hope that what we're telling you is helpful. We have a caller. Lewis, what's your question?
Everyone. Hello, Mr. Arndt. How are you?
Hello.
Hello. How are you? Anyway,
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah,
How
I do
about
got
you?
a question. I'm just fine. Jeff. Good hearing your voice again. It's been a while. Anyway, got a question for you. Are we going to get a Via link on the north central side anytime soon?
Thanks for that question, Lewis. It's a great question. And as Via Link becomes more popular in the zones they're in now, we hear a lot from folks asking, when's it going to come to my area? So we know the next zone is on the south side. What are plans for future Via Link zones?
So again, yes, the next zone is on the south side, and then we're also looking to expand to some areas in the southeast, and then really around those areas outside of 1604, kind of how I mentioned, where the traditional bus doesn't work as well. So we're expanding to try to really reach out and add it to as many areas as we possibly can, in those areas, again, just generally outside of 1604. And we want to do it as quickly as we possibly can under the Keep San Antonio Moving Plan.
Is it fair to say that we're always looking for opportunities to expand?
Absolutely. It really helps us to expand our service footprint in a better way that makes transit accessible to many, many more people at more hours. And just, again, those Via Link zones are great because you can go anywhere and anywhere. So I guess to the caller's question, we'll follow up on the specific area and just talk about where that is.
Sounds great.
Yeah, you mentioned expansion. I think we should also point out that even the existing zones have expanded.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a great thing. I'm so glad you brought that up, John Gary. So, and I do want to point out that you can use your phone, or you can use a phone, or you can use the app. But the service is very accessible, and it can be modified pretty easily. So they're virtual stops. So the stops can be modified depending on usage, and then we can add areas, which we've done very recently to both the Northeast and the Northwest zone, we've noticed, okay, we might want to add this piece on to expand it to make it, better for more users. And we can do that. We can split zones in the future if those zones start to grow. Very, very flexible and innovative service that will help us out a lot. So,
Super.
and help our customers out a lot.
Oh, absolutely. So with about 10 minutes left on our call, we want to take our last poll question. And here it is. Once it begins operating, would you use the Advanced Rapid Transit Network if the nearest stop was within a mile of your home or workplace? Press 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for maybe. Again, once it begins operating, which we believe will be around 2027, would you use the Advanced Rapid Transit Network if the nearest stop was within a mile of your home or workplace? 1 for yes, 2 for no, and 3 for maybe. While we're getting those responses back, I just want to take a moment to welcome some new leadership on VIA's board. We have 3 new board members that we're very excited to begin working with or to continue working with. And we have 3 trustees who are reappointed. So welcome to Trustee Kevin Wolf, Trustee Ida Gonzalez, and Trustee Paul Basaldua. And congratulations to Trustee Lewis Cooper, Trustee Bob Como, and Secretary Athalie Malone, who were recently reappointed to the board. I want to remind everyone that you can go to viainfo.net to find out when our board meetings and workshops are. It's another great opportunity to let us hear from you. Now, Kammy, right now, our callers and viewers are answering a question about ART.
Yes.
Lightning round. What are some really great features about the ART?
Well, you can get farther faster.
That's a really great
number
one.
one.
John Gary?
The faster part is something I'm going to emphasize as well, because it is designed to speed up your interaction with our system. So not paying at the fare box. You're just going to get on the bus and you're going
That's
to head
faster
on
too.
down.
How
That's
dare
faster.
you? You took my favorite thing.
You get one more, one more, Jeff.
Well, then I'll go with the signal priorities.
That's right.
So the combination of people being able to pay their fares so that when the vehicle arrives, they open the door, people get on, close the door. What does that sound like? It sounds kind of like light rail is
Right.
what it sounds like. And in fact, ART provides the benefits of light rail, but at half the cost.
Half the
so
cost.
That's another reason we're really happy and proud that we're going that direction.
And that's probably one of my favorite features. Half the cost, doing more. I want to tell everyone
If I could ask
Oh,
Jeff
yes.
his favorite question, and what's the frequency on Advanced Rapid Transit as they're answering this question?
Like 10 to 12 minutes.
that's wonderful. You
Yeah,
don't even have to
that's
check
incredible.
a schedule if it comes every 10
It's
to
the
12
sweet
minutes.
spot for
That's the
transit,
sweet spot.
transit frequency.
Before we go to the results of our poll question, I want to thank everyone who participated. Let me just remind you that this Saturday, June 25th, from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. at the Blessed Sacrament Church over on Oblate, we're going to be having our next public meeting. We would like everyone to come out. We're going to have our staff, subject matter experts. We're going to have some really great interactive elements for you to learn more about the Advanced Rapid Transit Project. And most importantly, give your feedback, because feedback from the community is helping us to design and develop this project to make sure that it suits the changing needs of our community. The next 2 happen on Wednesday, June 29th. And Tuesday, July 12th. You can go to keepsamoving.com to get the details of those meetings.
Please come and speak with us about advanced.
Come
rapid
say hi to
transit.
Kammy. So the results of our last question, which was, once it begins operating, would you use ART if the nearest stop was within a mile of your home or workplace? 61% said yes, and that's what we really, really want to hear. 11% said no, and like I said, we're going to work on changing your mind, and 28% said maybe. We'll take a maybe. I think that those are really, really great results.
So I think when you see the benefits of advanced rapid transit, the maybes will definitely convert, and some of the no's as well.
That's what we're looking forward to. Let me do a quick check on time with about 5 minutes left. I want to talk to you folks and say thank you. We're coming to the end of our call, our last Tele-Town hall. We're going to have a lot more of these. We want to say thank you for taking the time to join us for this important conversation. We appreciate the opportunity to speak directly with you and answer your questions. If we were not able to get to your question this evening, you can leave a voicemail after the event by simply staying on the call, and you'll be transferred into our private voicemail system. You can also send us an email at keepsamoving@viainfo.net. That's keepsamoving@viainfo.net, or call our office at 210-517-4715. If you'd like to continue the conversation with our team in person, please plan to attend one of our upcoming public meetings on VIA's ART project, again happening this Saturday at Blessed Sacrament Church. More details on these and other events at keepsamoving.com. And we'll look forward to hearing from you at our next Tele-Town Hall event. And I'm going to plug it one more time, keepsamoving.com. And you can sign up for alerts to hear when our next town hall event will be. Also follow us on Facebook. We post alerts there very often, events that you can join, and it's all designed to create a conversation directly with you, our customers, and our community. And with that, I want to say thank you again to our panel, John Gary, Jeff, and Kammy. It's been a really great talk.
Thank you, Rick.
It's because of our moderator.
Oh, wow. I paid them to say that. Thank you so much.